I didn't put my freaking gloves on. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is GutterBratz, and for this week's video, I am going to respond to your questions. I asked on my Instagram this morning for you guys to leave me some questions so that I could respond to them in a YouTube video. And that's exactly what this YouTube video is gonna be. If you do want to get involved with any videos like this in the future, be sure to check me out on Instagram. I will leave it on screen somewhere. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet, but it'll go somewhere. GutterBratz on Instagram. Go and check it out if you want to get involved with videos like this in the future. I'm just going to quickly say before we get into this video, if I sound a little bit weird or my voice starts to go again, I am once again at the tail end of another illness. I don't know what my immune system thinks she's doing, but she is not doing her job. I think it was a chest infection I had this time. Love that for me. She seems to just want to let everything in. Let me get ill with everything. No worries, you know, I can take a week off of work. No bother, no hassle. But if I start to sound a little bit weird, that is why. I am still recovering a little bit. I've still got a bit of a cough, but I'm getting better. I am better and I have my energy back again, which is why I decided to film today so that I could get a video ready for this weekend essentially. If my immune system does not start doing her job soon, she is going to catch these hands because I am getting so fed up of catching everything and just being ill with everything. COVID doesn't want me. Not had COVID yet, she doesn't want me. She wants nothing to do with me. But every other illness, yeah. In you come, you are welcome. Like I said, this is just a standard Q&A video. I didn't realise I've actually not done a video like this on my channel before, and I don't know why I've never done like answering Instagram questions or answering like your questions Q&A type thing, but I was convinced, and I've been convinced for the longest time, that I'd been making too many like answering Q&A questions from Instagram or answering your questions from Instagram. I was convinced I'd made so many of these videos, but I haven't made any, so this is the first one. If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like and leave me a comment down below. Let's get into the questions. Let's get started. I actually remembered a drink today. It is, again, another Monster. I really like this one actually. I really like the mango one. And I don't like mango. I don't like the taste of mango, and I don't like mango flavored things, but she hits different. I have had a little look already at some of these questions, and you guys came through with some really interesting questions. There isn't just like the same generic questions coming through, or, you know, like how old are you, or what is your favorite color. Some of these questions are actually really interesting, so I'm really excited to see what else there is now. Just gonna start at the very bottom of the list. What are your next hair colors going to be? So I actually don't know how to answer this question because I don't know what my next hair color is going to be. I had initially planned on ditching the green in my hair maybe like 2 months ago now, but when I tried to bleach my hair to lift the green out of my hair, it just didn't happen, and the color, I wanted to go this sort of periwinkle bluey purple color, but if I'd put that on top of what was left of the green in my hair, it would have gone this like horrible browny orange color that I really didn't want, so I ended up just putting green on again and sticking with the green and pink. I also recently had my hair done by a professional. I went to a hairstylist to have my hair done, and she stuck with the same pink and green colors that I've already got just to see what my hair was like and see how we got on. I mean, it's still really quite bright, and this has been washed like 6 times. I have another appointment with her in October. I don't know what color I'm going, but I'm fairly certain we are going to change my hair color in that appointment. Give it a month and I will have a new hair color. No idea what it's going to be, so I can't actually answer that question and give you like, it's going to be this color and this color or these colors, because I have no idea what color it's going to be. I'm just going to get there and we're going to decide on the day what we're doing with my hair. You will see in October, I suppose. I currently don't know. I have colors I would really like to go. I would quite like to do like full orange, Hayley Williams kind of vibe. I would love to do that, or like a reddy orange. I'd also really like to go fully green as well. You'll just have to wait and see, and I'll just have to wait and see what color my hair ends up going in October. What is your guilty pleasure song? Well, it's not really a guilty pleasure because I suppose everybody knows this, but I really love Kesha. Anything by Kesha really, like Take It Off, or there is the one that was going around TikTok and I've forgotten the name of it. Love Is My Drug, maybe? Just anything by Kesha. I love Kesha, so that definitely fits into my guilty pleasure songs or guilty pleasure music. But also in that same realm of like, you wouldn't probably think this because I'm alternative and I'm emo and I listen to alternative music, but I love Bass Hunter. Absolutely love Bass Hunter. And that sort of like high-paced 2000s EDM type music. I don't really know what it's called. Dance music? Electronic dance music? Is it that? I love music like that. Something that just like scratches that itch in your brain and just like scratches your brain a certain way. Music that hits that spot in your brain. I love it like that. Just, yeah, I don't know how else to describe it, but music like that is probably another one of my like guilty pleasure songs, I guess. It's not really one specific song, it's a type of music. Snuffle Bunny. Oh my god, I could think of so many. I could honestly think of so many. Like Snuffle Bunny, if you remember Snuffle Bunny, or like DJ Booney and Nightcore. Nightcore. I love Nightcore. Stuff like that would all probably be considered my guilty pleasure in music. I just love it so much. It just scratches away at a little itch in my brain that nothing else can quite reach, but that music does. Do you like balloons? Like normal balloons? Yeah, okay. Don't know what balloons we're referring to here, but if you mean like normal balloons, I guess so. Your favourite My Chemical Romance album? I'm gonna go with Danger Days. I love Danger Days. That's definitely like my favourite album. Love it, love the aesthetic, love red-haired Gerard Way. White-haired Gerard Way as well is up there. They're both very on par with one another, but Danger Days, I just absolutely love every single song on that album. They're all great. I don't really think I could fault any My Chemical Romance songs, honestly, but I love Danger Days. It holds a special place in my heart, and I just absolutely love Danger Days, so that would be my favourite My Chemical Romance album. Are you watching Rings of Power, and if so, are you enjoying it? I am. I started watching it not when it came out. I think I started watching it the week after it came out because I was busy. I didn't have the time to start watching it when it was being released, but I'm now caught up and I'm watching the episodes as they're released every Friday, and I love it. I really love it. I'm really enjoying it. I know it's been getting like a bit of hate online and it's been getting criticism online and stuff for certain things, but I really love it. Like anything that's in that, what would you call it, that universe, the Lord of the Rings universe, I'm probably really going to enjoy because I love that. I love fantasy things like that. I can't fault it. I think it's really good. Because I'm already a Lord of the Rings fan, it's fun to try and figure out who people are, because I think Rings of Power is set before it's set before Lord of the Rings, and it's like 2000 years or something before. It's quite interesting seeing characters when they were younger, but also trying to figure out, there's certain characters in it, I don't want to spoil anything, but I want to talk about it. There's certain characters in it that I think I figured out who they are, but there's been like no names said yet, so I'm not entirely sure if it's them. I just think it's them. If you know who I'm talking about, then you'll get it. But I've been really enjoying it. I've definitely been enjoying it, and I'm excited to see the rest of it as it gets released. Any plans for coming to Canada? That's actually interesting. My big brother is currently at this very minute in Canada, but I would love to go to Canada. I would love to visit. I want to travel, but traveling is a very expensive thing to do. I just don't think that I could take that time off right now to kind of go and travel and see all the things I want to see and do all the things I want to do. But Canada is definitely on my list of places that I would just love to visit and see what it's like and be there for a little while. I wouldn't want to go to Canada for just like 3 or 4 days. I'd want to maybe go to Canada for near a month maybe, because I think there's a lot in Canada that you could go and see. I don't really know much about Canada, but I feel like there's a lot to explore and there's a lot to see, and I would probably want to be able to set aside enough time to actually travel around and see different things and make the most of my time there. I currently have no plans to visit Canada because I think that would be a very expensive, it would be a very expensive trip, but it's definitely on my list of places that I would like to go. The next question is another traveling question, I suppose. Have you ever been to the USA? No, I haven't. The closest place I've been to would be Mexico. I went to Mexico in 2014, maybe 2013. I can't remember when I went to Mexico, but CJ and I went to Mexico when we were younger. We went with her family and it was such an amazing trip. It was the first time I'd ever been abroad, so like I have very fond memories of that trip. In terms of the USA, I've never been to the USA, but there are so many places in the USA that I would love to visit, would love to see, and that again, like Canada, is another country that I think you need to set set aside a large amount of time so that you can make the most of your one trip over there, because flights to the States are not cheap and they're long. Like, it's a long flight. So if you're going to America, I feel like you need to be there for a good length of time to actually get around and explore things and see different things and just make the most of your time there. So it's not like you're traveling back and forth and doing lots and lots of different trips just to visit different states. Again, it's on my list of places I would love to go, but I've never been. Favorite tattoo idea. I don't know if this means my favorite tattoo on me or my favorite idea for a tattoo that I'm wanting to get. I don't really know which one we're talking about here, so I'm just going to talk about, because it's easier to talk about, I'll talk about my favorite tattoo. I now have more than one, so that's a really I don't know how I want to answer this. I have a couple of favorite tattoos. The lady on the side of my leg, my spooky lady with horns, I love her. That's one of my favorite tattoos. And if you saw one of my recent vlogs, I recently had my stomach tattooed with the word reckless, and I absolutely love that tattoo. I think it's sick. And what other tattoo? My bat. I love my bat tattoo, the one I have that comes up the side of my knees. Absolutely love that tattoo. So they would probably be my 3 favorite tattoos that I really like, but I don't know if that's what the question's asking. That's just how I'm interpreting that question. There's a freaking tractor. Why, when I film, is there always tractors going past? I don't know if you'll be able to hear that. I'll wait for it to go past. I don't actually know where it is. Tractors are so unnecessarily noisy. No need for you to be that loud, honestly. Next question. Do you have any tips for young people in the alternative Scottish community? This is a really good question, actually. Do I have any tips, though? I don't know, because the alternative scene where I'm from isn't massive. It's a very, very small, and I don't mean all of Scotland, I just mean from Dundee. The alternative scene isn't huge, and I don't think the alternative scene is that big in Scotland. Probably one tip I would give you, if you're from Scotland, I'm going to assume you're probably from a small town, because a lot of us are from small villages or small towns, because there's just so many of them dotted all over the country. One tip I would probably give you is don't be afraid to dress how you want to dress, and don't be afraid to explore your sense of style and your sense of makeup and your hair. How do I word this? Don't be frightened of that small town mentality that people are going to judge you, people are going to stare at you, people are going to look at you, because the freedom that I felt with expressing myself the way that I do is just unmatched to anything. I absolutely love how I feel now in the way that I dress, but you do get stares and you get people turning at you and whispering things to their friends, or people laughing at you. You'll have people maybe yell goth at you in the street, or call you an emo, or bark at you. I've had people bark at me. I've got a story time. We might go into the story time just after this, but one thing I would say is don't be frightened to explore your sense of self and your dress sense and your style. Don't be frightened of it. Just like try different things. Buy those pair of demonias, or buy those new rocks, or dye your hair a funky color, because if it makes you happy, that's more important than someone random in the street sort of sniggering at you. Being a young person in the community, I'm probably assuming that you're still in high school maybe, and I was not as expressive in high school as I am now. I was very frightened of how people would perceive me with the way that I dressed in high school, and I dressed probably a wee bit more punky in high school, but I didn't colour my hair and I didn't do my makeup anywhere near as much as I do now. Like, bullies can be horrific in high school, so I can understand the fear of wanting to be alternative while still in high school, because like teenagers are ruthless, they're nasty and they're not nice. So completely understand when it comes to things like that. I would also say, in terms of meeting other people that are in the alternative community, I say this as if I do these things and I actually have local friends in the alternative. Well, I suppose all my friends are local and alternative, but it's like a very small group of friends. I would just say, like, once you get older, you'll be able to go to emo nights and stuff like that, and that's a great way to meet people. But gigs, going to local gigs, that's something I did so much as a teenager. Granted, at the time I was dating the singer of a band, so I would get to go to all of these gigs just as a +1 to a band member. I loved going to gigs as a teenager. You know, you met so many interesting people, and you met other people that were like you, other alternative people, other people into the same music as you. So I would recommend going to like local shows, Battle of the Bands, if they still exist. Do they still put on Battle of the Bands? I would do things like that, because it's a great way to meet people who are interested in the same things that you are, dress the same way that you do, listen to the same music as you, and that's just like a really, really good way to make friends, I suppose, that are into similar things. And then you'll have friends to go to gigs to, and you'll have friends who do alternative things with. whatever that may be. I hope that was helpful in some way. I'm not very good with advice. I hope that helps in some way. I don't know how valuable it'll be, and I don't know if what I just rambled off will mean anything to you, but I hope it's somewhat helpful. Just don't be frightened, go to gigs, do alternative things, and just enjoy it. And don't join Tumblr. Yeah, Tumblr was incredibly toxic, but that's where I kind of learned how to be alternative, I suppose. I hope that helped. I have no idea if I just spouted a load of rubbish, but I hope that helped in some way. Anyways, story time. Let's do a story time because I brought it up like 2 seconds ago. Basically, I was walking into town like last week or the week before maybe, and where I park my car, it's like a 15-minute walk into town because I'm not paying for parking. I'm sorry, I will walk. I am not paying for parking. As I was walking in, I had my headphones on and I was playing quite loud music, and I was walking at the side of the road, and it was quite a wide pavement, but I was at the side of the pavement where it's closest to the road, and these little Neddy boys came down on bikes. There was 3 of them, and the very first one that cycled past me screamed in my ear as he cycled past, and I couldn't do anything. I just at myself because he like cycled past and screamed emo into my ear, and he didn't even see my face at that point. It was just like the back of my head, saw the black clothes and the pink hair, and was like emo. It's like instinctual that these like young teenage boys, Neddy boys, have to shout emo or goth at you as you walk past. It's like they can't help themselves. It's a primal reaction that they just yell these words at you. I don't even think they process what's happening while they do it. It just blurts out because it's like instinct to them that they have to shout that at you. That was my story time. I just wanted to tell you that. Let's move on to the next question because I've already been filming for like 20 something minutes. Green Day, Paramore, or MCR? Paramore. I'm obviously gonna pick Paramore. I'm a Hayley Williams stan through and through. I love that woman with my whole heart. I would die for her. She could tell me to do anything and I would do it. So we're gonna go with Paramore. Next question is a question. Thank you for that. Thank you for your input. What's the dumbest near-death experience you've had? I know why I've been asked this question, or at least I think I know why I've been asked this question, because I've never actually spoken about this ever, apart from to friends. I feel like it's just a way to expose this story to people because it is the dumbest thing I have ever done. Guess this is another mini story time. It was probably about this time last year that this happened, and I'd gotten up, had my breakfast, was getting in the car to go to the gym because I go to the gym first thing in the morning. I just like to get it done and out of the way, and I was going to the gym, so that was where my destination was ready, got in my car, sat in my car, where my drive is, so that like we have the cars sitting in the drive and we have to reverse out, go forward, and then we go down onto the track and leave the driveway. And I'd reversed out, and as I reversed out I realised, oh, the sun's pretty low, I'm gonna put my visor down. I'd already started moving forward to make the turn to go onto the track. I'd started moving and I pulled my visor down and a moth dropped on me. A moth dropped down from my visor, landed right there in my lap, and instinctually I just myself. Like, I hate insects. I don't like them being in my area. I know I have a lot of insect tattoos, but besides the point, I don't like them getting up in my face and being in my general area. So this moth has just dropped down from my visor. Instinctually, I jumped out of the car. I lifted both of my feet off the pedals while it was in gear, jumped out of the car, and my car just went. It just went. My car ended up crashing into it's just a barbed wire fence that was opposite it. Literally as I got out the car, I got back in it because I was like, what have I just done? Like, why did I just do that? So I got back in my car, took it out of gear, reversed it back a little bit, and had to try and collect myself after that. That was really dumb. The whole story like keeps going on as well. Like, when I got back into my car, the moth was sitting there on my seat, so instead of sitting down on the seat, I reversed the car back while hovering above the seat. I left the door open a little bit just so I could reverse it to get it out of the fence that I had crashed into. And if I'd gone any further back, the door would have been taken taken off by there's two like concrete pillars at either side of the exit of our driveway. I would have taken my door clean off if I'd reversed any further back. My brain not working because I was in like full-on panic mode, didn't think about it, never took my door off because I did manage to stop it. Well, I did stop in time before I actually hit the pillars, put the handbrake on, got out of the car and just was like, what just happened? What did I just do? One, I almost died because I jumped out of my car. Two, it was caused by a moth. A tiny little moth caused me to crash my car. I have trauma from this experience happening. Whenever it's too sunny now and I'm like, oh, I should just flip my visor down, I am too frightened to put my visor down in my car in case a moth jumps. Well, it's not going to jump at me, but in case a moth drops down again and I crash my car. I don't ever use my visor, even if I'm like being blinded by the sun. I'm too frightened of that visor. I'll put the visor down. If I stop my car and I'm parked, I'll put my visor down because then I at least have that opportunity to get out of the car if there is a moth there. But if I am mid-driving and the sun is low, I will not put my visor down because I'm too frightened that something bad going to drop down and I will do something to my car. At the end of the day, nobody was hurt. The damage to my car was not too bad. I still had to get it fixed, but the damage wasn't awful. I now have trauma of moths. I even have a moth tattooed on me, which is just... I hate them. I hate moths. They ruined my life, they ruined my car. But that is probably my dumbest near-death experience. I probably have more, but that one is definitely like the dumbest thing I have ever done driving. I would also just like to put it out there that I don't live near other houses and I don't live near a busy street or anything, so there was no possible way anyone could have been hurt in this experience apart from me. And normally I am a very good and safe driver. It was just this one moment where my brain completely just disappeared, evaporated, and I jumped out of my car thinking that was the best possible solution to a moth dropping on me. Normally I'm a very good driver and it is safe to get in my car. That is probably my dumbest near-death experience. God, I spoke about that for a whole minute. Scenario. Okay, we've got a scenario. You have to sing a song word for word or CJ will die from extreme diarrhea. Which song? I am going to go for Misery Business by Paramore because if I don't know every lyric in that song, I will take all the hate that I receive on TikTok from people calling me a poser. Misery Business by Paramore. I know every single word to that song and if I don't, then you have the right to kick me out of the alternative community. If you could go back to any year in your life, which year and why, or would you go into the future? I don't actually know. I don't know that I'd want to go into the future because like then you miss so much of your life. You just like jump forward and you miss so much with the years that you decide to skip. I would probably go back. I don't have a because. And I feel like I would maybe go back to maybe 2015. I'm gonna say 2015 because 2016, that year was a write-off for everybody. We're just gonna say 2016 was a write-off for everybody. So not 2016. Probably wasn't in the best mental state in 2015. I mean, I definitely was not in the best mental state in 2015. I was a good teenage age. In 2015, I would have been 17. Would I go back to 2015 then? I was wanting, like I'm thinking when I was 14. What year would I have been 14? 2015. Okay, 2015. Is that the year I just said? No, I wouldn't have been 14. I'd have been 17. 2013. 2013. When I was 14, 15, I want to go back to like that age. Although mentally, my mental health was not good because my teenage years, my mental health was just not, I was on Tumblr. That explains it. That age, you have no responsibilities and the drama that you have in your life at that time is so menial and like dumb. It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Although there were a lot of bad memories, I just remember having a lot of good memories when I was a teenager and having something to do every weekend. I used to go to gigs every weekend and I think that time, because you have no responsibilities, you get to go out and do things every weekend if you wanted to. You see your friends every single day because you go to school with them and like you know that you're going to see your friends every single day and I miss that. I miss being able to see people every single day. I think I would pick that time. I would take Tumblr away from me. We're going to ban me from Tumblr during that year because I think if I didn't have Tumblr, we're also going to take me out of a relationship because I think if I didn't have Tumblr and I wasn't in the relationship that I was, I probably mentally would have been a lot better and I think it would have been a more enjoyable time for everybody during that time. That's the answer I'm going to go with. I don't know if that'll maybe change. I mean, it will definitely definitely probably change. Round about that time, when I was 14, 15. So that was like 2013, 2014 time. What is the toughest animal you think you could beat in a fight with no weapons? I wouldn't want to fight an animal, so I don't know. But it's gonna have to be something that can't really fight, honestly. Be bigger than a bunny rabbit. I feel like I could fight a bunny rabbit, so something bigger than a rabbit, but not like a fox. Foxes could probably be vicious, so not a fox. And not like a really big animal, because it would take 2 seconds to just like squash me. Somewhere in between. What animal is in between? Maybe a bird, but not a bird of... No, I'm kind of frightened of birds. I don't know. We're just gonna stick with I don't know, because otherwise I'm gonna be sat here dwelling an answer to that question for the rest of this video. And there are other questions I want to get through. Where is some place you find soothing when you need a rest from life? Where I live, there is this little area and it's very secluded. Okay, I live in the countryside, which is like great as it is, but there is this one little lake, pond. It's just like a big area of water, and it's like a 15-minute walk from my house. Very few people know that it's there. Over lockdown, more people actually discovered that it was there, and there was a bit more traffic of people going to this spot. But before that, there was like maybe just my neighbors knew where it was. It was very secluded, and that is the place that I go when I'm feeling overwhelmed or I'm just wanting to get away from everything that's going on. It's a very peaceful place, and I love just going there and sitting. Sometimes there's ducks, sometimes there's geese, there's sometimes animals running around there, but there's this little bit in an opening of trees and you can just sit and watch the water. My favourite time to go there is when the sun's setting, because it's just so beautiful and peaceful and it calms everything in my head. So whenever I am feeling overwhelmed or needing somewhere to go, that's where I go. That little place that's like 15-minute walk from my house, and I just absolutely love it, and that is my go-to place. There are some of these questions that I am just not putting on here, and Sean, I am going to block you on Instagram. Please don't stop asking me weird questions. You have been warned. I'll tell people not to sub to your YouTube channel. You've been warned. What was your initial draw into the goth/punk scene? So my dad was alternative. My dad listened to a lot of alternative indie bands when he was younger, so I've always had that music influence there. And then my older brother, who's about 4 years older than me, was in a band. He was a scene kid. He dressed alternative. He went through his emo phase. Wasn't really a phase, but he went through like a proper swoopy hair scene kid emo phase. But honestly, it probably was the influence from both of them that got me into alternative culture, got me into alternative music. My dad used to recommend lots of bands to me when I was a teenager, bands to listen to. My brother also did the same. I stole my brother's box of CDs when I was like 13 or something, so that I could download them all to my computer and have all of this like alternative music. When I was a teenager as well, maybe like 13, I dated the singer of a band, and they played sort of mostly pop punk, alternative rock type music, and I think being in a relationship with a singer of a band was also another factor that influenced me getting into the sort of punk and goth scene. I'm not really into the goth scene so much. I would never really associate myself with being a goth. I listen to a lot of gothic music, like Susie and the Banshees. Absolutely, I've loved Susie and the Banshees since I was a teenager. That was one of the bands my dad introduced me to. My dad probably listens to a lot of gothic music, but Bauhaus. Went to see Peter Murphy 4 years ago now? I can't remember when it was, but I've seen Peter Murphy live. Bands like Cocteau Twins, just that interesting gothic music. The Cure, really enjoy music like that, and I think that was mostly influenced by my dad's music taste that I got into sort of gothic music. But I probably wouldn't consider myself a goth, because one, the goth community would probably come after me if I said that I was a goth, and and two, I'm more associate myself with like scene culture and emo culture and that pop punk culture. A lot of people think I'm more scene kid aesthetic, but I don't really think that I am. I think I'm sort of this hybrid of emo and punk, honestly. I think that's where I fit into these subcultures. But probably was my dad and my brother, and then being with the singer of a band. They were my gateway, if you will, into the subcultures or alternative subcultures. What would you have done as a career if you didn't end up doing all of this? I don't actually know. I have a degree in digital interaction design, which is essentially user experience and user interface design. So I probably would have gone into a job like that, working with accompany users or how their customers interact with certain things. I probably would have enjoyed doing like digital design for websites and stuff like that, and that sort of user experience, like a digital user experience rather than the user experience of, say, a space or an event or something like that, I probably would have enjoyed the digital side of things. So I think that's probably where I would have gone had I not started my business while I was in uni. Also, like, social media, I suppose. Like, if I didn't start making videos during the lockdowns the way that I did on TikTok, and I didn't have that social media growth, that's probably where I would have gone. I would have gone into something UX UI related or something digital interaction design related. But honestly, couldn't tell you what it would have been. That's just my guess based on what my degree is. That's the route I would have gone down. But honestly, I don't know what I would have done. Favourite and least favourite song by Hayley Williams. First off, there are no least favourites. Second off, every single song by Hayley Williams is a favourite. That is my answer. I love Hayley Williams. I'm not going to slander Hayley Williams on my channel. I mean, I slandered Hayley Williams on my TikTok, but not gonna slander Hayley Williams when it's actually me speaking. We don't do that here. She is a goddess. We do not slander Hayley Williams on this channel. All songs are my favourite. You named your dog Ripley. Have you ever wondered what Ripley has named you? Ripley would give me a cool name because I'm the only person in this family that takes her for walks. So Ripley would have a good name for me. We're on good terms. She wouldn't have a bad name for me. I can tell you that for a fact. We've only got another couple of questions left. Are you single? Yes, I am single. I've been single for like 3 years now-ish. No, 2? 3? I don't know when I'm single, but yes, I'm single. That is essentially the answer to that question. How do you feel about axolotls? I love axolotls. They're so cute. There is one up here. He is an axolotl. If you have watched this far into the video, comment what you think I should call my axolotl because I don't actually have a name for it. Give my little axolotl a name. We can decide that on this video if you've made it this far. You're the real ones if you made it this far, so you get to name my axolotl. Any recommendations for alternative clothing stores for guys to start getting into it? I would probably first off recommend the generic ones like Killstar and Disturbia. They both, I think, have a men's selection. I don't think their selections for men are as big as the selections that they have for women's clothing, but most of these stores don't tend to have massive men's selections. Like, it's just the way it is, I suppose. They definitely have some men's clothing. You could probably check out skater brands like Thrasher and Vans, and is it Santa Cruz? Do they have clothes? Maybe. You've also got brands like Who Clothing, and I think Hobo Jack is maybe another one. I've never bought from these companies. They mostly do like graphic t-shirts, but there's lots of brands like that that'll do alternative graphic tees. I'm pretty sure you could find some on like Etsy and stuff like that. More high street brands that kind of cater to alternative men's clothing, I guess, would be H&M. I buy a lot of t-shirts from H&M. In the men's section specifically, tend to be a little bit more alternative than anywhere else on the high street, so H&M stuff tends to be quite good. If you're into sort of tech wear or wanting to go down the route of more tech wear alternative clothes, there's places like Nev Studio. This t-shirt's from Nev Studio. They do like tech wear type clothes. As for shoes, New Rock, they are very expensive, I won't lie to you, they are expensive, but if you look on eBay you might be able to find pairs secondhand. They can be quite good for making any look kind of more alternative because they're so heavy and bulky and aggressive looking that they will make a lot of outfits look very alternative. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any other brands that I might have missed. There are definitely more, and it will take just a wee bit of like shopping around, finding things on Instagram, scrolling past things and just seeing them. I'd maybe have a look on Pinterest as well. Pinterest might be able to give you some ideas for alternative styles. Attitude Clothing, there's one. Attitude Clothing. There's other places like Attitude, like Blue Banana, Damage Society. I was waiting to say it's like the UK version of Hot Topic. Damage Society. They'll have different brands of stuff, and I'm pretty sure they have like men's clothes. I'm not entirely sure. I tend to shop mostly in women's sections. Unless I'm looking for big t-shirts, then I shop in the men's section for clothes. So I'm not the best person to ask for like men's clothing store suggestions, but that gives you some options. It's a place to start, and at least if you have a wee look on that, you'll find out what you like, what you don't like, and you might be able to find brands that cater more to what you're looking for. Okay, we've got another couple of questions that have just come through. I will do those ones and then I'm gonna end this video because I've been filming for almost an hour. Have you done meet and greets before? Would love to meet you sometime. I haven't done meet and greets before. I didn't actually realise it was a thing anybody would want. I might organise one in the future future. It's not going to be anytime soon, but I might consider organising something. The only thing is it's more likely going to be in Scotland because that's where I am. It's easy for me to do something like that in Scotland than it would be to do down in England. But I'll consider it. I didn't realise it was a thing anybody would want. If you had one wish, what would it be? And you can't wish for more wishes. I suppose it would just to be happy. Like, I just want to be happy and be happy with myself and be happy with my life and be happy with whatever happens in my future. I think that's maybe what I would wish for. Either that or hair dye that doesn't fade. That would be the other wish that I would have. What's your dream music festival lineup? Okay, this is actually a good question to end on. We will end on what would my dream musical festival lineup be. First up, headliners. We're gonna have Paramore, we're gonna have Avril Lavigne, we're gonna do a 3-day festival as well, so Paramore, Avril Lavigne, and who's my final headliner gonna be? Kesha. Let's do Kesha. So we've got a full female lineup as the 3 headliners. We've got Avril Lavigne, we've got Hayley Williams, and we've got Kesha. Next on from the headliners, we'll have Good Charlotte. Love Good Charlotte. We're gonna have Sum 41, because I love Sum 41. I have already seen them before, and I've seen Good Charlotte before, but we're gonna put them on there. And then we're gonna throw in a wild card, and we're gonna have Bass Hunter. We would have Green Day, and I think I would create some controversial opinions having Green Day further down in the lineups than Avril Lavigne and Hayley Williams, but we're gonna have Green Day in there. Bring Me the Horizon in there. I'd quite like to have Beartooth on there. Set It Off, we'll have Set It Off. Can't not have Set It Off. I love Set It Off. Against the Current, I would quite like to have them. We're kind of just like naming bands that are going to be playing throughout the weekend now. Dream State, love Dream State, would quite like to have them. Nova Twins, I would like them. My Chemical Romance, how did I miss them? My Chemical Romance would be up there, the second in line on the lineup, whatever you call that. They're not headlining bands, but they're not the support act. I don't know what you call it at a festival, but the one that's just below the headlining band. My Chemical Romance would be on there. Who else would we have? If Susie and the Banshees were still a band, we would have Susie and the Banshees because I love Susie and the Banshees. Bikini Kill, I'm gonna put Bikini Kill in there. Probably somewhere on my lineups, quite like to have McFly and Busted. The gateway band to all of our emo phases. I have Twin Atlantic, Bowling for Soup, Fall Out Boy. We maybe have like a little punk stage somewhere with like Wingnut Dishwashers Union and Mischief Brew. The Used. I really wanted to see The Used at Slam Dunk, but they pulled out like a week before or something, and I was gutted about it because I was so excited to see them. Joan Jett. Can you imagine Joan Jett doing a festival now? I would quite like Joan Jett. There's so many bands I would have that I've missed. I'd kind of like Slipknot. Honestly, Slipknot will slot you in there somewhere. Maybe Architects? It's getting so random. I don't think there would be like a branding for this festival because it would just be like KITS Spotify playlist. The festival. That is all I'm going to do for today's video. I have been sat here for 50 minutes now, I think. Just under an hour recording this video, so it's going to be a really lengthy video. If you've made it to the end, congratulations for managing to listen to my voice for that long. I'm proud of you. And I'm surprised that my voice did not break as much as I thought it was going to because of being sick and everything. But that is it for today's video. We are done. Okay, this one's going to be an absolute beast to edit. And I have to get it done by Sunday, so... Go me for filming for so long. Thank you everybody who left a question. I hope I've managed to get through everybody's questions and I didn't actually skip any accidentally. I did try and get through as many as I possibly could, and I know that there will probably be more now, but I'm ending this video now. We're done. You're done.
You're done. You're done.
I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to hit the like button, leave me a comment down below, and if you're new to the channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'm gonna go have a lie down now. Thank you for watching. Goodbye!